This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
If 2020 has taught us anything, it's to take nothing for granted. So when you expect hot water and get cold, when you expect the shower to drain and it doesn't, when you turn the furnace on and it won't start, stop freaking and call Beacon Plumbing, Heating, and Mechanical. 1-800-FREAKIN'.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard the tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back legally on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Ringo Starr was on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he ended up talking about him and the other members of the Beatles farting.
We learned that when we were in a band, when we started out, if anybody let a silent one go, they would try and get away with it. And it caused terrible trouble. It came to
people think Yoko divided the band, and in fact, it was just gas. Yeah.
So anyway, we realized, okay, it was me. Or it was him. It doesn't matter, but you just said it and everything calmed down.
Who was the gassiest Beatle?
Paul.
Oh, there you go. Finally comes out.
I needed that answer.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to hear that answer, actually, when you said, hey, who's the gassiest Beatle? I'm like, of all things, I've never heard this story. I'd like to know that about all the bands. Like, who's the gassiest member of Metallica?
Yeah. It's,
I feel like it's James.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah. Nice. Oh, Ringo.
I like that he picked somebody that's still alive so they could defend themselves. Like, he could have went down, like, the safe road and just been like, oh, it was totally George. George was just ripping ass all the time, and George can't defend himself.
I love, because Paul could go, what are you saying, mate? What are you doing?
See, I would have guessed it was going to be Ringo. I always feel like the drummer's the gassiest.
Is that because you're the
drummer?
Yeah.
I used to get such dirty looks sometimes. I never meant it, but like when you're playing, you're just doing what you're doing. You can't really hold in a fart. So sometimes it just kind of come out. And then, like, a member of the band would just look at me and kind of mouth, is that you? And I'm like, yeah, sorry.
Well, it's like the way you play drums. It's literally Animal from the Muppets.
Thank you.
And just the simple fact that you sit there next to Vicky and you just like lean over a little bit and one accidentally squeaks out. I have a feeling that you used to fart a lot at the old drum kit.
Let's use that word accidentally. That's good call.
It's funny because like I think he'll forget that I'm in the room sometime during breaks because it's very cartoonish.
Yeah, sure.
It's very like, let me scoop my booty over and just boop.
Well, you are really short, so I mean, he just looks over and sees Joe all of a sudden.
Yeah, the coast is clear.
Yeah.
But I do love it when he thinks nobody can hear and he's trying to be subtle about it. He lets it slide, and I just turn over.
With the headphones on. Yeah.
With the headphones on, I'll just make eye contact, and he starts laughing.
I'm busted. My wife always gave me a hard time. She's like, did you just fart? I'm like, no, I didn't. That was totally like Lulu or Tatum. And she's like, I saw you lift your butt off the couch.
Yeah.
Like, that's a giveaway, I guess.
I'd like to throw stones.
I got to get better at that.
I do the same thing. I lift, and the wife's just like, what are you doing? Don't do that. And I was like, well, sorry.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do.
True. Right. I just love that whole question to ask one of the members of the Beatles. Who's the gassiest member of the Beatles?
Well, I love that was a good follow-up, Yeah. I mean, that's a really good follow-up to the story. So Jimmy's doing his job as a journalist.
He's a pro.
Yeah. I will say that Ringo probably, when he got started, probably thought that question would never be asked of him. And look at him. He's been around long enough that you ask the important questions.
I think it's the ultimate also example of, like, how sometimes someone says, like, you can get away with something, like, a good-looking guy could say something to a woman that maybe is attracted to that maybe an unattractive guy, if they said it'd be creepy, right?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Jimmy Kimmel's in a spot where Jimmy Kimmel can ask that question to Ringo Starr because he's Jimmy Kimmel. Like if Ringo Starr was on our show and all of a sudden like, hey Ringo, stupid question for you. Maybe he'd be cool about it, but there's also a pretty good chance they'd be like, what kind of low lying fruit show is this?
Yeah.
It's BJ Miggs with the lowest of lying fruit.
Yeah. Exactly. We aren't as attractive as a national talk show host, that's for sure.
Or someone that he knows, that he's familiar with, like he feels more comfortable around. Like there's certain questions you can get away with because of who you are.
Yeah, you got to have that rapport. Yeah. No doubt about it. There are things you can get away with, and sometimes we've done that in our career where it's like we've been given the do not ask list, but it's like, I know this guest well enough. They've been friends of the show. I think I'm going to ask it anyway and, hope for the best. And most of the time it works out. And then every once in a while it doesn't.
Someone just texted, they'll forget the Beatles. Who's the most gassy KISW member? My money's a tie between the Rev or the Ted Smith.
Oh, I would think Thrill would be in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, D. Ted Smith, I wouldn't even put in like the top 5.
I was going to say, he doesn't seem like a gassy guy.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever, all my times of being around Ted, I don't know if he's ever really ripped ass. At least like where I could hear it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I might as well. Not that I spend a ton of time around Ted, but yeah, that's not something I'd put on him.
I'd go Thrill.
Yeah.
Then Rev.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And then Sarah.
Yeah,
Sarah?
Me. It's probably me.
Yeah.
All of us were like, what?
Sarah's in the other room going, shut up! Yeah. How'd you know? No.
How far I floof.
Yeah, I think that's a good top 3 list. Yeah. I can't argue with that.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like Thrill's flatulence will probably come up a lot in this roast that we're going to be doing of me.
Yeah, pretty much. I think everyone's probably going to talk about Thrill in that way. I mean, what else can you say about Thrill? It's his calling card if you're going to roast him, is that, here's a guy that just, does not know how not to fart everywhere.
So is it Thrill's the gassiest? Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell because, like, Rev, when he's real gassy, you could smell it down the hall. But I'm not in the same room as him, so I feel like I hear you fart at least once or twice a week.
Me?
So I feel like yours is more, but that's only because I'm
twice a day.
Well, then I hear catch. But like I said, I don't sit in the same room as Rev. So for me, it's almost like you're the gassiest one.
Oh boy, look at this! You've taken over the top spot.
Oh great!
Just for me.
Yeah, keep that in your little roast of. Someone even said, "Wait a second, is there really going to be a roast of Steve Miggs?"
That's right.
Oh
April
yeah,
15th, Snoqualmie Casino.
Ryan was so kind to show up during Listeners on the Loose yesterday and let everybody know that he worked with you guys and Snoqualmie Casino and everyone from the staff, Craig Gass and other Craig Gass. Other people are going to be joining us up on stage at Snoqualmie was Friday, April 15th for the roast of Steve Miggs. But the nice part is, it's not just a roast of me. You guys are getting roasted as well. Not by me, maybe, but by each other. It's just, that's usually how roasts happen. It's like you goof on the subject, but then you just goof on each other as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you're a fan of KSW, everyone from the staff is going to be there hanging out. I don't even remember the last time we've done that besides Live Day. And Live Day is a weekday, so this is a weekend, BJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is it's really awesome. Obviously, as we are really excited about getting back together again in front of a bunch of people. During the evening where everybody's off work, we're off work, and. You keep telling yourself that it's really going to be everybody roasting everybody, and you'll be fine.
I'm trying to put that in the universe, BJ.
Yeah.
Because I'm not roastable.
Yeah.
We don't
Tickets on sale.
Here we go.
Yeah, Mr. Roastable. Mr. Unroastable.
Yeah, double and triple down on that one.
I might as well at this point. You guys made an event for this. I guess.
You go ahead and keep doing it. You're just going to, you're going to embolden us to really bring our roast game. And, tickets on sale this morning at 10 o'clock at KISW.com for the roast of the unroastable Steve Miggs.
I do like the cartoon drawing and of that you guys put for the thing on the webpage. I was like,
oh, yeah, you look good.
As if Ryan reached out to my buddy Chris and got that done. I'm like, everyone's doing me dirty. Thanks, Chris Dahl, for making that.
Chris
it turned out really nice. I just wish it wasn't my face.
Chris was very enthusiastic. That was the key, is when we told him what was up, he was just like, it was almost like I could hear him start drawing as we were talking to him about this wonderful idea.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. Check it out. So check out, really go to KISW.com and you'll see that awesome Steve on a Pit cartoon done by Chris. Really well done.
I think my favorite part was when you guys told me and he said that Craig Gass was a part of it. I texted him when we went to the break and I was like, really, Craig? And he's just like, oh yeah, and I'm hitting up some of my rock star buddies to be there as well. So I don't know who exactly, but obviously he's friends with a lot of the local cats, like the Pearl Jams, the Alice in Chains guy, Duff McKagan. I don't know who, but man, that's just going to get even more surreal.
It's exciting. I'm looking forward to the people that want to come. You know, it's interesting when you say, hey, folks, we're having a party for somebody, but you go, we're having a roast for somebody. That sometimes people go, I will be there for that. It's just like, they go, oh, we get to roast that guy? Okay, then.
Yeah, it's nice to see how enthusiastic y'all are to make fun of me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's really sweet.
Big deal. You know me, I don't like to go. I don't want to go out of the house. I'm giving up a board game night to do this. But when they said it was a roast, I'm like, oh, hey.
Yeah, I've never been more touched by what you just said, BJ.
Oh, God, maybe it was like, I'm ready for this. Yeah. Again, the opportunity. Oh,
so I want to know, hey, what would be on a do not ask list from a celebrity? That's a good question. I don't think a lot of people understand that. Like, sometimes when you have interviews with, like, we interview, like, some of these celebrities, their public relations people hit us ahead of time and be like, these are the things you cannot bring up.
I'll talk about the one that I remember specifically. And it was Kat Von D, who,
yes.
the tattoo person lady, and really good friends. We've had good interviews with her, and so we had another one lined up, and she just started dating the dude that dropped Sandra Bullock.
Jesse James?
Yes, Jesse James, right. And, it was not a pretty dumping, and it turns out, Jesse didn't look like a great guy. And so we're like, wow, we're talking to Kat like when this is fresh. And the person said, all right, as we're doing the interview, do not talk to Kat about Jesse James at all. Right. You're not allowed to ask that question. And, I'm sitting here with Steve and like, and I, first of all, don't like to be told what to do. It's like, look, you're calling up promoting something. Let us do what we do to be entertained and help, and put on a good show. And then you get what you want, which is to promote whatever it is. It's like, I'm not just here to be your commercial. It's got to be quid pro quo. And at the same time, we really have a great relationship with, Kat as far as interviews go. And she's a really cool person. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to find a creative way to ask this question because I'm just not going to. I feel like Kat would be okay because she knows we're not trying to just, basically, be gossipy. I was really concerned. Like, hey, Kat, what are we missing here? Because Jesse didn't seem like a great guy. And so we asked it in such a way that she was like, hey, man, that was cool the way you asked it. And she did answer. But man, it sucks when they go, don't ask this, and you go, but it's the biggest news. How can we not talk about it?
My favorite thing, though, for a while, I would always say, oh, yeah, and I would never tell you, like, certain things, but they'd give me a list. I'm like, yeah, I'll let them know. And because in my head, I'm like, you ask it, they're going to get mad at me, and I'll be like, I told him, and he just went against my will.
That's a good way to do it, because I'm glad, you tell me stuff like that.
So many times where they've given me
in a bad mood.
Well, a lot of times it'll be certain things, and I'm like, well, we're probably not even going to ask questions about that. Like, I don't even understand why like that. But I get it. Like, they're just looking out for the best interest of their client. But some of them are just so ridiculous. And I'm like, I'm going to just take a chance. And I think there was one time where I remember you asked the question, it was specifically told not to ask it. And in my head, I'm like, oh, this will be an email I'm going to be getting later. But you didn't know, so it's not like anything you did wrong. And then I just blamed you and threw you under the bus. And I'm like, look, I told him, I'm waving my finger at him, and he still went rogue. And they're like, well, we appreciate you trying.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it because I have that reputation anyway. And that way, that way I get to just do the interview the way I want. I think you came up with a great solution to that problem. That's fantastic.
But I remember one time it was like I was interviewing the Smashing Pumpkins, and the PR lady's like, well, what kind of questions you got? And I was very nervous. It was like one of my first ever interviews when I was working at the end. And it was like at a bookstore in Bellevue, because they were doing like an in-store thing, and it was James Iha and Billy Corgan from the Pumpkins. And I'm like massive Pumpkins fan, especially during that time. And I'm stressing. I have everything written out. And I'm like, oh, well, these are my questions. First mistake. I should have just lied and told her I have them in my head. And she looked at all my questions and said, yeah, don't ask that, don't ask that, don't ask that. I had like 12 questions, and I think 9 of them I was told that I can't ask. So now I'm like panic mode. And it's like, okay, cool. Here's Billy and James. I'm like, I had no chance to reset. So like, I look visibly shaken to the point where Billy's like, are you doing okay? And I'm like, no. He's like, why? I'm like, well, I had a bunch of questions, and I guess they're not good, so I don't know what to do. And he goes, why don't you ask them? I was like, okay. And I asked every question, and he answered them all. And he's like, these aren't that bad. And then I think he was like, and we had a good talk about it. Like, he was just, him and James was like, yeah, she's just protecting us because some interviewers are just douches. And that's the reason why. And it was a cool chat, like when the mic wasn't on. And then, but like, it was it was nerve-wracking because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I didn't think any of these were bad. They weren't like anything negative. It was just maybe like, hey, working with Courtney on her last record or something along those lines. And she's like, nope. She was being super protective.
Yeah, and you can't fault for somebody for trying to do a job to protect their clients. And then the other side of it, I do get mad at our own industry because a lot of times there are people in our industry that don't care to do a good interview. They just want to make somebody look bad, make it funny. And that sucks because it makes, people that want to do legitimate interviews, like, all of a sudden have to go through that. It's like, well, we're not all like that. So I get it. I mean, it's complicated, man.
So imagine asking Kanye about Pete Davidson in an interview right now. Oh my gosh, that would be epic.
See, I feel like he would talk. I feel like Pete would be the one that would be like, don't.
You're right.
Jonah Hill.
The cut it out kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's like, well, then don't do interviews. I mean, look, it really fascinates me how entertainers don't understand how it works. We're putting you on because of your celebrity in the hopes that you make a great segment for us, and in return, we'll use our platform to promote whatever it is you've got going on. And I've always said, if you're not entertaining, why would anybody want to go do anything that you want them to do, like buy your book or watch your show, if you're just boring as hell on an interview? I don't understand how they don't get that. It's like we're in the entertainment business, and it really baffles me when you talk to somebody and you're like, wow, this sucks. I mean, you really don't want to be here. I don't understand why you're doing this. It just doesn't make, it's not good business. You're not helping your business by going, buy my book. It's really good. Well, let's talk about some things in the book. I don't want to tell you what's in the book.
Just
read the book. I'm like, oh my God.
Did you read the book? Oh, you have to read the book to find out if I read the book.
Oh, I mean, that would be like asking people to go to your concert without ever hearing any of your new songs. Like, I don't want you to hear any of our music. Just come to the concert first. It's like, well, that's not how it works. Usually we like dig your record and then want to go see it live. I mean, it was like, I just don't understand these people. So, But anyway, Steve has the right solution. Don't tell me and then just blame me later.
Yep. That I'll ask for forgiveness later thing.
It's a great thing,
Or
man.
beg for forgiveness, don't ask for permission.
That's exactly it. I think it works with me and it works with them. And I don't mind being thrown under the bus because, you know what? I probably would be that a-hole anyway. So why not blame me? We got an 81-year-old man who's training for his 20th Ironman championship. And his reason why is beyond inspiring. You're going to hear from him at 8:20 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
When the hot water needs to be hot, when the drain needs to drain, when the toilet needs to flush, you need to do two things. Stop freaking and call Beacon. Beacon Plumbing, Heating, and Mechanical. On call and there when you need them most. 1-800-FREAKIN or beaconplumbing.net.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu. Certified to operate by Chev.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. There's a guy in Florida who's competing in his 20th Ironman triathlon, and he's turning 82 this fall.
Wow.
His name is Roger. Here he is talking about losing his wife and using that as a motivation to compete at such an advanced age.
I said, what am I going to do with my life? I need some purpose. I need some focus. I need to do something other than think about my wife. So I decided I would go back and try to get back to Kona. If I can just make it through the race in 17 hours, I will be delighted.
That's insane.
Wow.
I get it. I get your mind off of losing. I just become a regular at a strip club or something like that.
Oh, wow. I don't know. Wow, that is a completely different choice.
I moved to Oregon and just eat steaks every day.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, we all deal with grief in our own way.
I wouldn't think of doing something that, that strenuous. An Ironman, I don't want to do it in my 40s, in the 80s. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because normally you don't outlive your wife. And I just really believe because of nature that, that women are designed to be able to deal with the loss of their spouse better than men are. When, and at least that's what I believe in my head. I don't know what I think a man just is like, this isn't how it's supposed to be. And I think it's so great that he's found a way not to just descend into this morose situation. If I were, I don't know what I would do, because I don't expect to outlive my wife or my kids. And and therefore it would be like tragic if I did. In my own brain, I'd be like, oh, wow, this is not how it's supposed to happen. Wow, what am I going to do?
Get those walking sticks out and just walk the country.
Yeah. It's a funny thing, Steve, but yeah, I think that's probably something I would do. Maybe some friends would, remind me that moving your body is good, but then he's 82. I barely can move now. My God, at 82, I feel like I'd have to be wheeled around the country.
So what all entails in an Ironman?
It's swimming, biking, and running.
Is that right? Okay, yeah, I thought that's what it was.
Yeah, I think, and so that is. Look, swimming and all of it is just unbelievable that he was able to do it.
So it is a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bicycle ride, and a marathon that is 26.22 miles.
So a marathon, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, full marathon.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot. I can't do any single one of those things.
I'll just combine them all and just drive that.
Okay.
I can drive it. I think you're right, Steve. I can drive it.
Get myself a steak.
Again, all right. Again, we all deal with grief in our own way. Whatever you got to do to get through.
He's been here every day. He just eats a steak and he's just humor the guy.
Yeah, well, look, it's funny. We, and this was way back in the days when Kathy and I were first dating, and she worked at a flower stand in downtown Crossing in Boston, which is a big area that people would have and businesses and stuff. And this old dude would come by, and he called himself Gentleman Joe, and he'd go around to each of the kiosks, and of course, that everybody was selling fruit or whatever, and she was selling the flowers. And he would just go and give people good cheer. And eventually I started talking to the dude because I was there one day at the stand. And I'm like, dude, can I ask what's your origin story?
What are you doing?
Yeah. What's going on? And he basically is like, look, I lost my wife. I really don't have much of a family. And I thought, what am I going to do with my life? I'm still here and everybody that I love is gone. And of course, he's telling that story, and I'm like, oh, this is horrible. But he's like, why not turn it around and, give the benefit of my years, my experience, and help out young people and encourage them, enthuse them, and let them know that life is good. And I'm like, wow, and he used to write stuff to people and just say nice things about him. Gentleman Joe, I'll never forget the guy. Like, he had an impact in my life, and this was over 40 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah. He decided to be a force for good when, life did not give him the best at that point.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be you at any point, though.
No, I'm going to be the opposite.
You'll be the Darth Vader of that story.
I will be. Yeah, not so Gentleman Joe.
Right.
So I don't know if you heard this, man. We haven't thought about this guy in a long time, but he's a classic. He's an icon. And that is, of course, the dude that played Short Round in the Indiana Jones movies.
Dude, recently, remember, maybe about a year ago, but I still stand by it when we were talking about who's going to replace Indiana Jones. I'm like, it should be Short Round. He was kind of like his little buddy.
Yeah.
How great would that be if all of a sudden, and then we found out that he doesn't act anymore, but how great would that be if all of a sudden Indiana Jones is being, the mantle has been, or the baton has been passed to Short Round?
Totally. Well, you're not that crazy because Ke Huy Quan, who played Short Round, actually has returned to acting. And here's a clip of him as Short Round in Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom, if you forget him.
Wow, holy smoke! Crash landing!
Short Round, step on it.
Okie dokie, Dr. Jones, hold on to your potatoes.
Where's the animal?
Did I just let you? For Christ's sake! Oh, another kind of girl! Hey, Dr. Jones, no time for love! We've got company!
Hold on to your potatoes. I forgot that part.
Right, that's amazing. I want to use that.
So, of course, he's a little kid, and not all little kids go on and keep acting. So people were like, "So, what happened? Why weren't you acting anymore?" And he was like, "Look, after the two roles that I had, the offers started drying up, and the ones that he was getting were pretty bad." He said, "Quote, as I got older, there were not a lot of offers, and even when there was one, it was very stereotypical.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't fun to audition for those."
Because he was with Data in The Goonies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's back in the upcoming movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, starring Michelle Yeoh, who, by the way, a lot of people know her from, she was in Crouching Tiger. She played a great role in Star Trek Discovery. She's been in a ton of stuff. She was also in the Shang-Chi movie. Yep. She played his auntie. And he's basically what I think a lot of folks are saying, and is that, he's looking for and sees a lot more quality roles for Asians in Hollywood. Shang-Chi, definitely, if you watch the behind the scenes with that, all about that theme and that message. And he says, look, as the days went by, I realized I definitely belong here and I want to be here because, look, I don't know if you could have a short round character today, because I think people would think you're just being stereotypical and you're kind of maybe poking fun. I don't think that's what they intended with Indiana Jones, but it's a whole different world now.
But he can be updated. You don't need to go down that road, but it can still be short round. Now he doesn't go by his nickname, but he's the new Indiana Jones. He's only 50.
Yeah,
Harrison Ford did until he's 70s. We could get a good 20-year run of short round as Indiana Jones.
Right? Look, man, if you believe this will get people to the theater to watch this,
I can't promise you that.
Okay, well, see, your ideas have to at least be some sort of revenue.
I can promise that I'll go to the theater to see this.
Really, you got to go a couple million times, sir.
Well, I can't afford that, Rev.
You will go. Vicky showed me a picture of the dude, wow, I would never known that that was Ke Huy Quan. I would never know that.
He's like 40 years old.
I know. I would never. If you told me that's the kid that played short round, I'd be like, I wouldn't even know.
It's interesting. Is like I was like, oh, well, is he just out of Hollywood? But he's been in Hollywood. He just was doing stuff behind the scenes. Apparently, he was the stunt coordinator for X-Men and an Enigma as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for him. I mean, it's good that he found stuff that he could do.
He's a cinematographer as well, assistant director. So, I mean, he's been around the business. He just decided, you know what, I don't want to do these roles because they're just insulting.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that things have changed. That's the one thing I've noticed with watching Pam and Tommy is the way certain people are treated. I mean, honestly, the way they portrayed the way that she was treated on set of Baywatch, it makes you feel really bad for watching that show. You're like, oh my God. I mean, it's demoralizing, and I'm glad that Hollywood's changing and going, you know what, we can be better than this. We don't have to be the idiots that say, hey, this is the only thing you can do and we're going to treat you this way. Well, I'm happy to see that.
So I'm thinking, if he was a stunt coordinator, that means that guy knows his thing around stunts. So
you know what?
Yeah,
nothing gets past you,
right? I'm not your average bear, BJ.
You know what? Drax, which of course is the Guardians of the Galaxy reference. Nothing gets over your head, sir.
So if he can coordinate stunts, he can probably do stunts, which means he could be a pretty badass Indiana Jones reboot.
Well, yes. I mean, he's in his 50s, as you said, or is it 50s? Yeah.
So 50.
I mean, yeah. So hopefully he's doing okay. I know that Michelle Yeoh, who I don't know how old she is. She may be in her 40s at least, but she's still doing kick-ass work on her own, and that's what she's known for. Is just, man, she's always involved in great choreographical fight scenes. She really
she's 59 years old.
She's 59?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And this trailer for Everything Everywhere at Once is ridiculous. It's like multiverse, like she's like a laundry lady, and like her husband, which is played by the actor who played Short Round, is like, no, I'm not really your husband. I'm in front of another universe, and so she has to fight and do all these things. It looks insane.
Michelle Yeoh is amazing. She really, I mean, a lot of folks probably when they see her go, oh, I know her, but she's always in amazing stuff. I forgot about this movie, Vicky. I've been really excited to want to see it. And how cool is it that Kui is in it himself? Yeah. That's all. I mean, dude,
this movie looks like an acid trip.
Right. Yeah, it does. It's totally an acid trip.
Trippy as all hell.
Yeah, maybe not your kind of movie because it's,
I'm digging it. It's definitely not my wife's kind of movie, though.
That's too bad, man, because, I mean, Michelle Yeoh's amazing. She's like...
It doesn't matter. She's bleeding and there's a lot of violence. Like, I'm just telling you. She could be the most beautiful, great actress in the world. It doesn't matter.
What are you going to do?
See it by myself. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Well, you know what, man? I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's good.
This is totally a movie on acid. Like, there's parts where, like, her fingers are super long.
Oh, yeah. This is all
based off of anything? It's like, it seems like a comic book movie. Like, it looks like a superhero. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it may be based on a comic. I have no idea.
Oh, I'm sorry, a graphic novel.
Whatever. I won't get butthurt. So, but Michelle Yeoh's great. She is so good, and I mean, I don't think I've seen a bad movie where she's been in it. Even if it's like, the movie's okay. As soon as Michelle shows up, I'm like, okay, I'm thinking she's just God, she kicks ass, but she was also in Crazy Rich Asians. She was the mom. And I mean, she's just, everything she does, she's just so good at, man. So, and how about me? All right, there you go. What's it called, Vicky? Everything, Everyone, Everywhere?
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
All right, there you go. Make sure you send the link to Steve's wife, because
someone said it'd be awesome if they passed the Indiana Jones torch to Short Round as opposed to giving it to Shia's character.
Oh, yeah. Shia doesn't exist, man. That movie.
Well, what if Short Round takes out Shia's character?
I'm
dude, sort of like the way Deadpool took out like Ryan Reynolds before he went and did Green Lantern.
Yes.
I would be so up for that scene.
Yes. Amazing.
Okay, that would be a great, like, right at the beginning of the movie, they just correct the most egregious error that ever happened, is that Short Round takes out Shia LaBeouf. Yes, I am for this. I will see this movie.
He throws a potato at his head, knocks him out. And that's how Indiana Jones realizes who he is. He's like, it's Short Round.
Yeah.
Hold on to your potato.
Yeah, I've saved the franchise, Indy. I saved everything with one potato. All right, we got it. We fixed it. Thank you, Hollywood.
Make it.
You're welcome for the idea. Yesterday, Steve, he did get this one wrong.
What fresh herb is used in a mojito cocktail?
Lime.
No.
Oh, crap. What's that stuff? Oh, man. I can see it. Basil.
No.
What the hell is it? I see it. Come back to it, pass.
Do you know it? Do you remember?
Mint. Yep,
yeah,
I remember. It's painful listening to that, like knowing that I know the answer now.
Yeah. You want a shot at beating Steve? You got it. 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Miggs at 8:47 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. How do I figure out who my creditors are?
People a lot of times have had a long time of not having good credit and having collections, and so they're concerned that you may be concerned that you won't be able to find all your creditors if you file bankruptcy. How will I know which collection agency has my credit card bill from 10 years ago now? And that's something that's hard to keep track of because credit collection agencies transfer your debts all over the place. But we will pull all your credit bureaus, and by getting all three of your credit bureaus, we'll be able to tell who has your credit and debt now, which collection agencies have had it in the past, and we'll make sure that we file all your creditors when we file your bankruptcy so that nothing slips through the cracks.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.